All right, thanks, guys. Coming off a perfect Friday, swept the board 4-0 on our Patreon premium selections. Now we have college football to get into today, and we're also 9-0, a perfect 9-0 in our college football package on Patreon as well. 18-11-1 in our last 30 best friends plays. If you want to get hooked up with that, link for that website is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, we have ourselves a full slate of Major League Baseball action. So let's go ahead and get into it, beginning with the Twins taking on the Indians, 1:10 Eastern first pitch in Cleveland. Now, this game's currently off the board. It is the first game of a doubleheader here today. Looks like the Twins are going to throw out Randy Dobnak, although he's not confirmed. Probably a bullpen day for Minnesota today. But anyway, it looks like maybe Randy Dobnak for the Twins. Looks like we're going to see Carlos Carrasco for the Indians. I'm going to lean Cleveland, winning this one outright for some money line cash, although we have no current lines for that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Pirates-Cubs, 2:20 Chicago, Wrigley Field. The Cubs are minus 225, totals at 10. We saw a 10-cent fade of Chicago and movement downward on the total. The Cubs opened through 235 down to 225. Total opened 10.5 down to 10. 74% are leaning Cubbies. And at the moment, the Pirates are plus 205 on the money line. We have James Marvel for the Pirates. Marvell, really doesn't matter. We have James Marvell on the mound for Pittsburgh. We have Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. Now, Hendricks comes into this game with a 10-9 record, 3.33 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. He's also struck out 137 batters. The Cubbies, very good at home this year. Very good. 48-24 straight up at home. They're actually one game ahead of Milwaukee for that second wild card spot. They rank 4th in runs allowed at home on average per game, 8th in hits allowed in that same category. Now the Pirates on their side of things, losers in 7 out of their last 8 head-to-head matchups with the Cubs. They've also dropped their last 5 straight at Wrigley Field. One more thing to add about Pittsburgh, they are 26th in runs allowed on average per game. Meanwhile, when it comes to the total, the Cubbies are 4-1 to the under in their last 5 at home. I'm going to lean Chicago, minus 1.5. And the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Yankees, Blue Jays, 307 Toronto. The Yankees are 270, totals 9.5. We saw movement downward on the total in this matchup here. Once again, New York, they're minus 270, total open 10, down to 9.5. 76% leaning toward the Yankees. Right now, the Blue Jays are plus 240 on the money line. Yankees minus $1.70, laying the 1.5. We have James Paxton for the Yankees, Jake Waguespack for Toronto. Waguespack's just 4-4 with a 4.55 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. Paxton on the other side for the Yankees, 13-6 on the year, 3.96 ERA, 175 strikeouts. The Yankees have the best record in Major League Baseball. Toronto on the other side, they rank dead last in hits on average per game, 29th in walks given up as well, which is second to last in Major League Baseball. When it comes to the number, the Yankees are 49-25 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Yankees minus 1.5 and the over 9.5 runs in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Saturday's Major League Baseball action. Happy Saturday. The weekend is in full swing. Now, before we get into some more leans, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site, and memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. We went a perfect 4-0 yesterday in our premium selections on Patreon. We're also a perfect 9-0 on the college football season. Looking to make that 12-0 today. And of course, we are 18-11-1. In our last 30 best friends plays. If you want to access my current record, that's a part of the free content. That's right on that overview homepage. And a link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and get into some more lines of personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Braves taking on the Nats, 4:05 Washington. The Nats are 115, totals at 10. We saw a 10-cent move toward Washington. This one pretty much opened as a coin flip, both teams minus 105. Once again, the Nats open 105 up to 115, totals at 10. 56% are leaning Braves, 74% shaded toward the over. Right now, Atlanta's plus 105 on the money line. The Nationals plus $1.70 on the run line. We have Mike Fultonavich for the Braves, Austin Voth for the Nats. Voth comes into this game with a 4.00 ERA. Meanwhile, Fultonavich on the other side, although his stuff hasn't been all that great, he's still 6-5 on the year with 88 strikeouts. Now the Braves are in first place in the NL East, 9.5 games of this very Washington team. They're 92-57 overall for the year, 47-28 away from home. They rank 7th in scoring, 4th in offensive walks. Now the Nats on their side of things, winners in just 3 out of their last 9. Washington also ranks 18th in runs allowed at home, 23rd in hits allowed in that same category. When it comes to the total, Washington's 80% to the over in their last 5 at home. Atlanta 40-34 to the over. When traveling this year, I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Atlanta plus 105 and the over 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Orioles, Tigers, 6-10, Detroit. The Tigers are 115, totals 9.5. 62% are leaning Detroit, and at the moment, Baltimore's plus 105 on the money line. Tigers plus $1.60, laying the 1.5. We have Gabe Inoue for the O's, Daniel Norris for the Tigers. Norris has struck out 116 batters in 135 innings. Gabe Inoue on the other side for Baltimore, just 1-8 on the year, 5.79 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. Baltimore is dead last in runs allowed, last in strikeouts, 26th in scoring, 29th in runs allowed away from home. I'm going to lean Tigers minus $1.15 and the over 9.5 in that game. Next matchup, Red Sox, Phillies, 7:05 Citizens Bank Park, South Philly. Philadelphia is minus $1.20, totals at 9. 59% are leaning Red Sox, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, Boston's plus $1.10 on the money line. Phillies plus $1.70, laying the 1.5. We have Eddie Rodriguez for the Red Sox, Aaron Nola for the Phils. Nola's 12-5 with a 3.70 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 207 strikeouts on the year. Now, Eddie Rodriguez on the other side, he's been just as impressive. He's 17-6 on the year, 3.73 ERA, 177 strikeouts. Now, I think the X factor here is location. The Phils are 43-33 at Citizens Bank Park, 4-2 straight up in their last 6 at any location. They're only just 2.5 games back for that second wildcard spot in the National League, right in the thick of things. Have a lot of divisional games to finish out the season. They also rank 9th in offensive walks. Now, the Red Sox continuing to implode. Losers in 5 out of their last 6. They're also just 1-4 in their last 5 in South Philly. They're ranked 21st in runs allowed, 28th in walks allowed. When it comes to the number, Boston's 43-29 to the over when traveling this year. I'm going to lean Phillies minus $1.20 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, that's going to be Twins, Indians, game 2 of a doubleheader. 7:10 Eastern first pitch in Cleveland. We don't have any confirmed probables for this game. Once again, another bullpen session for both squads. Give me Minnesota winning game 2 for a day-night split of the doubleheader. Once again, game 2, give me Minnesota winning that one outright for some money line cash. All right, next game, Dodgers, Mets, 7:10 Flushing, Queens. The Mets are minus 140, total 7.5. 51% are leaning Dodgers, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now, Los Angeles is plus 130 on the money line. The Mets plus $1.60 on the run line. We have Ryu for the Dodgers, DeGrom for the Mets. Hyun-Jin Ryu is 12-5 on the year, 2.45 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. He's also struck out 142 batters. The Dodgers have the best record in the National League, 96-53 overall for the year. Winners in 17 out of their last 20 head-to-head matchups with the Mets. And speaking of New York, they've covered just 32 out of 72 at home this year. Once again, just 32-40 ATS at home. And of course, when I refer to covering ATS, the spread, I'm referring to the run line. So once again, New York just 32-40 ATS at home, 18th in home hits, 21st in home offensive walks. When it comes to the number, New York 6-1 to the over in their last 7 head-to-head matchups with the Dodgers. I'm going to lean Dodgers plus 1.5 in the over. 7.5 runs in that game. Next matchup. Brewers, Cards, 7:15 St. Louis. The Cards are 195, total 7.5. We saw a nickel fade of St. Louis in the early wagering. The Cards open 200 down to 195, total 7.5. 68% are leaning Cards, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, Milwaukee's plus $1.80 on the money line. St. Louis plus $1.05 on the run line. We have Jordan Lyles for the Brewers, Jack Flaherty for the Cards. Flaherty's 10-7 with a 2.99 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. He's also struck out 196 batters. Jordan Lyles on the other side for Milwaukee comes into this matchup with a 4.38 ERA. St. Louis is 4 games ahead of Chicago for first place in the NL Central. They're 83-64 overall for the year, 47-26 at home this year at Busch Stadium. Now Milwaukee on the other side really kind of had their hands full with St. Louis this year. Losers in 9 out of their last 11 head-to-head matchups with the Cards. The Brewers also ranked 26th in offensive strikeouts, 26th in walks allowed as well. And obviously early this week, the news about Christian Yelich shattering his kneecap, out for the year. Certainly a big blow. That's a lot of home runs out of the lineup. Total-wise, Milwaukee 4-2 to the over in their last 6. St. Louis 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Cardinals minus 1.5 in the over. 7.5 in that game. Next matchup, Astros. Royals, 7:15 Kauffman Stadium. The Astros are minus 310, totals 9.5. Saw a little bit, we saw movement upward on the total. That's what I'm trying to say. And once again, Astros minus 310, total open 9 up to 9.5. 75% leaning toward the Astros, 71% shaded toward the under. Right now, KC's plus 280 on the money line. Houston minus $1.90 on the run line. We have Zach Greinke for the Astros, Mike Montgomery for the Royals. Montgomery comes into this game with a 3-8 record, 4.77 ERA. Greinke on the other side for the Astros, 15-5 on the year, 2.99 ERA. Houston has the second most wins in the American League. They are 96-53 overall for the year, 42-34 covering away from home, third in scoring, first in strikeouts. Total-wise, Kansas City 5-1 to the over in their last 6. Give me the Stros minus 1.5 in the over 9.5. Next game.